Hello guys, my apologies for the slightly late arrival and return to the channel after Breach was released. I cannot emphasize enough how ridiculously emotional I have been about this album. So naturally, I have a lot to say. The video that you're about to see or listen to is about City Walls for the most part, but there actually will be another video about City Walls in the future. My plan is to have several videos about Breach, and it's going to focus on 4 areas that were themes throughout the album, and I will discuss each song that I believe belongs in those categories in depth so you guys can hear what I have to say and also share your own opinions. With that, here we go. False hope is the belief in a positive future outcome that is unrealistic or unsupported by evidence, leading to disappointment when the reality does not align with the expectation. This can manifest as the false hope syndrome, where repeated self-change attempts are made with unrealistic expectations about their ease or speed. Recognizing and addressing false hope, whether in self-improvement efforts or interpersonal relationships, involves distinguishing between realistic and unrealistic expectations and adjusting goals or actions to align with reality. If Clancy was or is hope, acceptance leads to the result of the half-bishop. The Bishop of City Walls is an embodiment of the process of accepting that some things really just cannot change, and one of those things could be the cycle of mental illness. The false hope he represents prior to his initial defeat, we'll talk about that later, is what perpetuates the constant cycle. He appears to be in charge, in control over Dema, but he's just another replacement, another FPE. There's a reason that the final sound in City Walls is the initial sound in Heavydirtysoul. This is the start of a movement. Clancy lived this normal version of himself, but what is different is he made it to the top. When you think about it, every iteration we've seen is small. It's a single escape attempt, one after the other individually being foiled. That Clancy, or those Clancys, don't remember previous attempts. He even discusses how the smearing process causes one to forget the outside. But this one, he knows all of them, all of the attempts. He is the culmination, the true representation of the cycle in general. If we continue to follow that sound from the road in Heavydirtysoul, then a whole new batch of Clancys is born. This bishop isn't just false hope. He's a false bishop. That's why he hasn't been completely taken over by the dark. Everyone has a Clancy. Everyone has their own banditos. Everyone has their own bishops. Everyone goes through the cycle, and as has been said, acceptance, the enemy of denial, must assert itself and be reinforced. Clancy doesn't become a bishop. He's reborn, as previously described, as someone who has stopped fighting the process. The torchbearer knows more than anyone, including Clancy, about what all of this means. He says that the bishop in the tower isn't Clancy anymore, and that they have to go out and try again, always. This is the furthest the Clancy we know has ever gone, and now it's time for another Clancy to do the same. If our Clancy becomes the next Clancy's Nico, what happens when the next incarnation reaches to the top too? If that Clancy takes the same route as we've seen, would the natural progression result in the paint of smearing being erased completely from his face and return to settle in his neck? If that happens over and over, the breaching process would eventually lead to the only black that could be left on the hands, or perhaps no black at all. Is that the real goal? Is that real acceptance? But here we go again. How easily could this idea be a false hope? How easily could I be stuck in my own cycle of denial with all of this? You can be the citizen of Dema, or you can rule it. There are no other options. We should never stop seeking the true hope that the torchbearer describes, but that is something that transcends any storyline. The line shaking hands with the dark parts of my thoughts will always ring out in my head. Truce will always ring out in my head. There is no such thing as a war that is won, only a war that ends in ceasefire. The presence of Entertain My Faith within this new song has massive implications. The last time we heard that line within the footage we have of the lore was during the live stream concert. It was those words that broke down the bishops hosting the whole thing the most. Seeking faith and truth is the only way to win the battle. Notice, I did not say war. But this is exactly what brings us to the rest of the album. I have so much to say about City Walls and so much more to say about each song from Breach. Because of that, you will see a small influx of videos on this channel, as I want to give each song and the album they live in the time that it deserves to be talked about. This is just an intro. I'll see you all very soon.